Hello, good morning to you. Many thanks for joining us. You're watching Galaxy today, coming to you from Galaxy Television. My name is Justin. Academia is a lifestyle edition.
Yes, and he's joined by Uche Onyekulije. Like you rightly said, is the lifestyle edition. But before then, we knew that Ekiti is hitting up for Saturday election, a whole lot of things going down at Ekiti, Justin. And I'm sure we want to bring you up to date what's up at Ekiti at the moment.
Yes, we will. We have our crew, our team in Ekiti, and we will be joining them shortly. We're expecting to have two guests on the show this morning, and I'll be looking at all the issues, the preparations to the Ekiti election, and of course the issues that happened yesterday with the alleged mistreatment of the governor of Ekiti State, Governor Ayodele Fayose. We'll be looking at that. Plus, on the reverse side, for the lifestyle, we're looking at something very, very, very interesting. Although we have mentioned it on the show not too long before now, but we feel it is pertinent to talk about it once again because a whole lot of people are still battling with the issue of depression. So we'll be talking about curbing depression on the second half of the show. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and join our crew in Ekiti State to join us again.
Galaxy Television is again recruiting fresh presenter trainees. Are you good looking, confident, have good command of English, and can speak eloquently? If yes, you might be the new face on television. All you need to do is simply send us your front, side, and rear view pictures of yourself with a 2-minute presentation in addition to your CV. Send to the email vacancy@galaxytvonline.com. Note, this advert is open for male and female. It will be a life-changing experience.
The race for the July 14, 2018 governorship polls in Ekiti State is gathering momentum. Residents are keen to vote in who will handle the machinery of government for the next dispensation. Get the details of major happenings in the Ekiti politics, feel the clamor, the polls, the passion and intrigues. For in-depth reportage, behind the scenes and no Woodbart's insight and analysis.
If we put that for paper, you know we have next time they come, they say we will vote for you. The one we vote for you last time, we drop our money.
Tune in to Election Watch at these times on Galaxy Television. Stay glued to Election Watch on Galaxy TV. Dear viewer, due to the Russia 2018 FIFA World Cup, there is now a slight change of broadcast of Galaxy Today, a flagship morning show. Galaxy Today will now run from 11 a.m. to midday while the Mondial lasts. We apologize any inconvenience this may cause our highly esteemed viewers. Galaxy Today will now be broadcast from 11 a.m. to midday while the World Cup lasts. Thank you. Galaxy Today.
That's supposed to be true.
All right, welcome back. It's still Galaxy Today. We're going straight to Ekiti right now. We'll take our first guest. We're joined by the convener, Access Nigeria Project, Grace Jerry. Thank you for joining us this morning. I want us to start with the issue that happened in Ekiti yesterday with the alleged mistreatment of the governor of the state, Ayodele Fayose, and of course members of the People's Democratic Party. The governor is alleging that they were mistreated specifically because of the fact that the APC doesn't want them to have a freeway per se. I just want to get your reactions concerning what happened on Wednesday in Ekiti State.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Grace Jerry, the convener.
Question. Okay, maybe I should, just in case you did not hear me the first time. We had reports and we watched reports of mistreatment by of the governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, by the members, police officers from that state. As regards the rally that was supposed to be held yesterday, a lot of reactions have come, and even the police came out yesterday to say they're trying to, make sure that law and order is maintained. But I really want to get your reactions concerning the fact that this is the number one resident of that particular state. He's like the CEO of the state. What does all of that portend?
Okay, we were here in Ekiti, and I will tell you that, of course, there was a bit of an unrest. And was it scary? I would say yes, because I remember we were having training with the group of persons with disability observers, and I could see a little bit of everyone trying to hear what is happening, follow up on social media, what is happening to the governor, and all of that. I would say that for me, election is not about war. It's not about having to come up with some form of unrest here and there, and to do that to a sitting governor. I don't think it's proper in a way, because it somehow will bring some form of fear and tension to the city. But even with that, I would say that Ekiti people are ready for the election. Ekiti people are ready to vote, especially the person with disability community. Yes, they're a little bit scared, but we are telling them it's important that you go and cast your vote on July 14th. And immediately you do that, please leave that polling unit, and you can follow up the rest of the processes from your home. But I want to believe that the people of Ekiti are ready for this election.
You're saying, if I got you correctly, you're saying whatever happened yesterday has not in any way affected, the expectations of the people ahead of Saturday. I mean, they are still happy about it. They're still very excited about the elections for Saturday. It's no way deterring their enthusiasm. And their enthusiasm.
Yes, exactly. They are still very, very enthusiastic about it. They are looking forward to it. And I remember we spoke to some of the observers who were training yesterday, the people with disabilities themselves. And they said, yes, even with that, they still would go out and observe the election. We are deploying people with disabilities to go and observe polling units, the whole process, the procedures, the voting materials, and even the facilities. And they said we would still go ahead and carry out this observation. And we've been here sensitizing the people to say, yes, probably there will be an unrest, but it still shouldn't stop you from going out to exercise your franchise. And we reached out to some of the LGA coordinators of persons with disabilities to say, are people trying to, plan not to go for elections? What are they saying? But, from what we've gathered so far, people are ready. Persons with disabilities are ready. AKT people are ready.
Okay, we also have some disturbing reports about the whole issue that happened yesterday, not to show if they're true, which with more clarity on that. Not only was the incumbent governor tear gassed, he was also slapped and beaten. And looking at just counting a few days to this election, is already like sending signals or making people feel a bit uncomfortable and this kind of fear that they don't know what to expect on Saturday. Can you please clear up things for us here? How are we so sure that the election will be free and fair, and how are we so sure that security is on top notch for Saturday election?
Okay. Well, I wasn't there, so I don't know whether he was slapped or wasn't slapped. So I won't really say much about that. I just know that there were a lot of stories flying here and there. But one thing I know about security is that, the police, the military have assured the people of Ekiti that there will be maximum security. Already about 30,000, I hear, police have already been deployed to Ekiti. So I want to believe that they will be, at the top of ensuring that there is security, enough security for these people. And in terms of the credibility of the election, I know that INEC is doing all in their capacity to ensure that it's free, fair, inclusive, and even credible. And another organization which are carrying out the watching the vote, which they guarantee almost 100% or 100% guarantee of accuracy in their reporting and in their collating of these results. So I personally, I believe that it's going to be a free, fair, credible, and inclusive election, especially for the community of persons with disabilities in Ekiti State.
How many parties are involved in these elections? I mean, we just said about PDP, about ATC, and maybe a couple of others. How many gubernatorial aspirants are we expecting to see this Saturday? And then, okay, let's take that first. How many parties are involved in this, and how many aspirants so far? Parties are involved in this, and how many?
35 parties, 35,
So far, from all that you have said, you have how much so much people living with disabilities. Let us look at some of the issues now that they could, or challenges they could face on Saturday. How do you think INEC can better make sure that those people, not just people living with disabilities, maybe the elderly, are not disenfranchised at this Ekiti election and other subsequent elections?
Before the Ekiti election, we have identified these barriers to polling units, especially sometimes the polling unit layout, the placement of the voting cubicle, sometimes the target corridors of schools or public building. And these corridors sometimes are difficult for a wheelchair user to climb, except he or she is being assisted to climb. There's lack of the braille or the tactile ballot where a visually impaired person can vote without any form of assistance. Sometimes there are no sign language interpreters or written instructions, for people with hearing impairment to be able to go through or understand the procedures and the processes of voting on election day. So we have identified these gaps and we've made recommendations to INEC, and we've been working closely with INEC and other civil society organizations to address these barriers. One of the things I know that we're going to have for the Ekiti election is the written instruction, election day written instruction, so that the hearing impaired community will understand the stage-by-stage process of having to cast their ballot on July 14th. We tried to see if we could have the pilot of the tactile for the visually impaired, but that wasn't possible due to time for preparedness and all of that. But we believe that coming Oshun election coming in September, we should be able to pilot the use of tactile for the visually impaired voters. And INEC has assured the physically challenged community to say, hey, if you're having difficulty accessing the voting cubicle that is placed on the corridor or the ballot box that is placed somewhere high, we are willing to bring it down to your level so that you can cast your ballot without any form of assistance, relying on anyone for support. So is INEC, working closely to ensure that they provide access for people with disability? The answer is yes. And we are working daily with them to address these issues of barrier on a daily basis. So come 2019 election, we believe that it's going to be a lot better, and we would have more and more increased participation. Our target for Ekiti election is to have at least 10 persons with disabilities in each of these polling units to come out, and we would record the increase with that. So we're looking forward to a better and an increased participation.
But I'd like us to talk to Abimbola Aladejare, convener Vote Not Fight campaign right there with you in Ekiti. And I'd like us to direct this. I'd like to quote what Payashe said himself. He said, I was slapped and beaten by mobile policemen in my own state. They shot at me as I speak with you. I am in severe pains. I am experiencing pains. He said, I plead with the international community to intervene. Nigeria is in trouble. Ekiti is in crisis. In the last few days, they have arrested PDP members, teachers, and civil servants. People of good conscience should come and save Ekiti. Looking at the statement, it looks like there's a huge maybe war going on at Ekiti. And this is, we are in Lagos and a couple of others are monitoring just from afar. And we just want you to help us understand how this election can actually be a thing of vote and no fight. I mean, we're just a few days away to the election and it looks like Ekiti is under crisis. Do you think they're actually ripe for this? Or would you rather suggest a postponement?
Okay, thank you for the question. Talking to the event on Wednesday, well, I would say categorically that it didn't happen in my presence, and there have been a number of stories, flying around. We've had the police come out to say that APC and the PDP were supposed to have their campaign on the same day, and it was going to probably result in clash, and both parties have been asked to postpone their rallies and all that, and PDP was trying to do some coming together, and they didn't want that to happen. There have been a number of stories, flying around, and if that really happened, if the governor of Ekiti State was assaulted, then I think that that is condemnable, and I'm really condemning that, and the entire Vote Not Fighting really thinks that we don't want that kind of occurrence in Ekiti State. Like we keep saying, election is not about war, and what we want people to do is to go out there and cast their vote to the person of their choice. And asking if I feel that there will be need to postpone the election, if you ask me, like my colleague has said, I think Ekiti people are ready for this election. A lot of people have been calling me to say, we learned there's trouble in Ekiti and all that, but I can say that it's not as bad as it appears. Ekiti is really calm. I've driven around Ekiti today, and I can say categorically that Ekiti people are really ready for this election. And come Saturday, you'll see a lot of turnout. I believe that people will come out and vote.
Not fight. How far have you gone with sensitizing the Ekiti State citizen concerning the election?
Well, we've done a lot of work. We started some 3 months ago, and we have a statewide structure of 20 LGA coordinators and 177 ward volunteers who are working on a daily basis to engage community members, to engage Okada Riders Association, to engage Drivers Association, to engage party, during their rallies. We've attended several political party meetings, to sensitize them and tell them that our civic responsibility as citizens of Ekiti State is to go out and cast our vote to candidates of choice and not to fight, because the election is not about war. So we've done a lot of groundwork with our LGA coordinators, like I said, in the 16 local governments of Ekiti State. Also, we've had 3 senatorial engagements with young people and candidates that we invited and honored our invitation. So we've had these 3 conversations in the 3 senatorial districts of Ekiti State, where young people, over 900 young people, converge, to talk about peace and their role in constructive engagement of young people. We've also had what we call a peace concert, whereby we brought the Two-Face Idibia, that's the Two Baba himself. It was live in Ekiti State. I think that was 22nd of June, where young people, thousands of young people converged, from the 16 LGAs and from all the tertiary institutions in Ekiti State. And the major conversation, the major thing we talked about is for young people to go out and constructively, engage in this election. And what are they supposed to do? To majorly go out and vote and not fight. So we've done a lot of engagement. We have our radio programs. We've had series of call-in programs on radio where young people have called in and shared their views, about this forthcoming election. We've also had jingles, running on a daily basis on different radio stations across Ekiti State, calling people of Ekiti, particularly young people, to go out and cast their vote and ensure that we shun violence in all of its ramifications. So we've done a lot of work, and we still continue to engage until the day of election.
Thanks to you, Abimbola, for joining us. Abimbola Aladi, Jerry convener Vote Not Fight campaign. Earlier on, we had Grace Jerry convener Access Nigeria project, and they've been bringing us up to speed concerning the Ekiti elections, which holds on Saturday, and of course, the incident that happened on Friday. Before we move on to the next segment, let me just take 1 or 2 comments from our viewers regarding our first topic. Our elders should intervene. Anarchy looms in the country, going by what is happening right now. I believe the tenet and sanctity of democracy have been trampled upon already. There should be a postponement of the election because I see the election being rigged. Their presenters, the police deployed to Ekiti State is too much. If I were in the state, I will not come out and vote. Or the whole big shots in APC were in Ekiti State. Fayose must come out for his party to please. What they did to the governor is bad. That's from Sunday. Up at one more before we call it all for this segment. With the number of police already in Ekiti State, APC have rigged the election, whether you like it or not. These are just allegations. All right, we must say a very big thank you to all of you who have commented on this particular topic Forward Ekiti 2018 on Saturday. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll be looking at curbing depression in a moment. To join us again. The race for the July 14, 2018 governorship polls in Ekiti State is gathering momentum. Residents are keen to vote in who will handle the machinery of government for the next dispensation. Get the details of major happenings in the Ekiti politics, feel the clamor, the polls, the passion and intrigues. For in-depth reportage, behind the scenes and no Woodbark's insight and analysis.
If we put that for paper, I know we have next time they come, they say we want to say we will vote for you. The one we vote for you last time we drop our money.
Tune in to Election Watch at these times on Galaxy Television. Stay glued to Election Watch on Galaxy TV.
Galaxy Television is again recruiting fresh presenter trainees. Are you good looking, confident, have good command of English, and can speak eloquently? If yes, you might be the new face on television. All you need to do is simply send us your front, side, and rear view pictures of yourself with a 2-minute presentation in addition to your CV. Send to the email vacancy@galaxytvonline.com. Note, this advert is open for male and female. It will be a life-changing experience.
All right, welcome back. It's still Galaxy today, away from politics, away from all the Ekiti brouhaha and all the issues that happened yesterday. We're focusing our gaze right now on lifestyle, specifically one issue that is becoming predominantly worrisome for most young people, and not just young people, even it cuts across all aspects, and that's the issue of depression. Lots of people are trying to, attempt suicide. A lot of people are just tired of life. They don't know what to do. They wake up not knowing what to do with the rest of their lives, and it is that bad. And we have two gentlemen in the studios with us who will be tackling this particular issue. We have looking grand all in white this morning. We have Adekule Adefemi, who we call Triple A. He's a life coach, and he is also joined by Kunle Pelemo, the convener of Land. Wait for it. Live and not die. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Justin.
Such, I mean, I love the idea of live and not die. I mean, why would you want to die? Like someone said,
that's the idea.
The other side is you're going to spend like eternity there. Why
in a hurry to go there anyway? I mean, if you want to compare the life that you live here with eternity is called forever. Literally. Yes. So even if you live 150 years old, it's nothing compared to eternity.
I mean, if you're a vampire, if there's anything like that, I mean, you're still going to die one day. And okay, so we're looking at depression, and it's so amazing that is eating deep into our youth these days
Yeah.
now. I mean, before now it used to be the elderly ones, but now it looks like it has consumed the youth more. I think children as well.
Yeah, teenagers.
Okay, so maybe we should just start with what exactly is depression?
Well,
Okay, you want me to take that? All right, so now, depression basically is, like he would like to call it, he says it's a state of hopelessness. Suicide, beg your pardon, is a state of hopelessness. But depression itself is a state of mind where you have, it's a negative emotional state where you are struggling to see anything positive in the situation that you're dealing with, or the whatever is going on around you. And then it puts you in a state where you are beginning to feel dejected, low, and unable to create change. That's what leads people to depression most of the time. So when someone is in a depressed state, they're in a state where they are struggling to find a way around it, and then they have now come to a state where emotionally they are sunken. They've sunk emotionally, and they're not relating well. They're not connecting with the world around them anymore. They're beginning to retract into themselves more and more. So in that kind of state, I'm trying to put it as practical as possible, and not just give you theoretical definitions.
Let me just let me just add to what Triple A just said. It's an intense feeling of sadness, and then we also have to talk about the timing, you know, because sometimes each and every one of us sometimes might have the cause to be depressed in one way or the other. But when it lasts for a long time, usually for weeks and months, you know, it's just like he's trying to create, you know, a practical solution. When you have a heavy load that you are carrying and it's resting on you for longer than it should, then it will press you down. Okay, that's what it means to be depressed.
But then don't you think, looking at what is happening with the situation in the country, is not enough reason for one to be constantly depressed?
Is it not? You mean, right? Well, it depends on the way you see it.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I once watched a documentary. It was one of these documentaries that was done. It was called "The Men Who Built America."
Okay.
Now, most of the men who made their money in those years, we're talking about the John D. Rockefellers, the what's his name again? The finance giant. What's his name again? And a few of them that made their money back in those days, they made their money in the Depression era of America, when things were really bad. That's why they made lots of money, because we were the few people who rose in those periods and actually achieved great success. Because now, one man's meat is another man's poison.
Yeah.
What you call a terrible situation is what somebody else looks at and sees an opportunity to actually build something and actually build from the scratch. You find, we keep saying the joke that every time you're traveling abroad, and as you're at the airport, you're seeing a lot of foreigners troop into Nigeria. So if we are saying there's a lot of problem, why are they coming? It's because they see opportunities that we don't see. There's something we call the foreigner syndrome. When you come into a particular country, you didn't just come and play. You didn't leave all your family and your loved ones, everybody where they are. You came here for a purpose and for a reason. Or even if you go to the US or you go to the UK, you went there for a purpose and for a reason. You want to find a better life, make something better of your opportunities. So foreigners are likely to even see the opportunities around you faster than you, that you wake up and sleep with it. So it's not just about the challenge that is going on in the country itself, it's about the way you see it. And so the challenge is people are not seeing it the right way.
Okay, so we're dealing with choice, so you can choose to be depressed.
Definitely.
Exactly.
But so are you not saying that is avoidable? Depression is avoidable?
Very, very avoidable. Very avoidable.
Yeah, you know, because the truth is, there are two environments, just like one of those things that we've learned over time, you know, your internal and the external environment. We are not disputing the fact that we have a whole lot of stressors around us. We are not disputing the fact that we have a whole lot of issues that we are dealing with that could lead us to depression. But internally, because the truth is, your life is much more important than anything you could talk of. You want to live fine, you want to be good. When you're having a headache, you need to really take it off. The same way depression. So if you work on your internal environment to that level of you not allowing whatever you are going through to weigh you down, because it is when it weighs you down, it leads to depression.
Okay, fine. Looking at everything right now, we're trying to, the main issue right now is trying to curb depression, but I'm thinking that before it really leads to something very extreme, there should be some pointers, some telltale signs or something. What do we look out for, and what should we be avoiding?
Okay. If we want to talk about that, like I said earlier on, the timing, because sometimes I really don't know, you go through some period that you have mood swings.
True. Yeah.
But it's not depression, because sometimes it will come like a snap. You're in there, and after a while you get out of it. But when you notice that you are getting into that intense feeling of sadness and it's lasting for weeks, it's going to months, then you need an expert to really get you out of that. So you have a whole lot of things that are really responsible for such. It might be all the pressure that you go through, financial pressure, workplace pressure. Your boss is on you, you have target to meet, and you're not meeting the target. So a host of things, but basically it's a psychological issue and it's a mind thing.
May I just add to that what he's saying? Maybe that will explain what you're going to ask. First things first, human beings are emotional beings. Every human being is a ball of emotions moving around in motion. So I say human beings are emotions in motion. Now, an emotion creates emotion. So a lot of times, anybody can fall into depression. I don't care who you are. As long as you're a human being and you have emotions inside of you, you can be a victim of depression. Now, what makes those that fall into depression and those that don't fall into depression is a matter of choice. It's a point where, and as we go further, we'll expatiate on that, but it's a point where you get hold of that negative feeling and then decide to take action that would help you ease out that negative feeling. Emotions are just indicators. And I tell people there's no bad or good emotion. I know we talk about it, and I teach this a lot of times. And there are no bad or good emotions. They're just emotions. They're just indicators of meaning. Meaning that if I look at you now and I slap you, as you are now, you probably will get upset that Triple A, what nonsense is that? You say, you see, it's a violence. No, but you probably will get upset. I said, Triple A, what nonsense is that? I want to believe that you will just be angry. Yeah. You won't slap me back. But you probably will get upset and say, what nonsense is that, Triple A? Okay. And then, but maybe in that same action I took, because maybe we're not at that level of friendship, you won't take it as Triple A, what's up now? But if your friend, they say, Justin, what do you? And just like you say, guy, what's you doing? I need to stop, and you probably will laugh. Why? Because it was the same action, but different meaning. True. Because I did it, it means something different. Because your friend did it, it means something different. So the emotion that comes out of it is as a result of the meaning you put to that action.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. But is it possible to be depressed and not know you're depressed?
A lot of people are suffering with depression and not aware that it is depression, because a lot of times things happen around us. Do you know how many things that we suffer from in Nigeria that we don't know what it's called?
Or some people are just in complete denial.
Exactly, and some are just in complete denial. Okay. Now, as much as I don't encourage people to say, okay, easily accept that you are in depression, and some people just want to be in that. I'm depressed. I'm so depressed. I'm depressed.
Like a label or something.
like it is a pure water. But as much as I don't like people just throwing that word around, at the same time, when you are dealing with it, you need to be able to identify what it is, and okay, I think this might be depression, and I need to deal with it now and nip it in the bud.
I said, but what are the indicators to know? What are signs to tell that this person is depressed? Yeah. For the depressed now that don't even know that they're depressed. Yeah. What are the signs?
Yeah, there are a lot of signs. Basically, depressed people tend to isolate themselves because they are in that feeling of sadness, like I said earlier on. They tend to isolate themselves. Then sometimes you see it in their dressing. Yeah, they tend not to dress well. and then the language they use, those are the indicators.
Yeah.
I am feeling down, you know, and then sometimes your word and the language, your choice of word, you know, tells us about your state of mind. Okay. I'm down, I'm depressed, you know, but by the time you begin to hear those words repeatedly, it's not that it's not them just uttering those words, it's as a result of what they are going through.
Or you heard someone say something like, what's the use?
What's the use?
You find words of hopelessness in their language. Words of worthlessness, hopelessness. When you keep hearing that, the person doesn't want to relate with the people around. Even if you're living in the same house, they're locking themselves in their room most of the time. They're sitting down. They're not. You know, that's why sometimes some people who like to be loners. Let's not say anybody that looks and say, he's depressed. That's why he's inside the room. No.
It doesn't have to do with their temperament.
Some people's temperaments just like their space.
Yeah.
They just like to be on their own. And so but you would know if someone who doesn't normally like to just lock themselves up in the room, just all of a sudden begin to lock themselves in the room, and they are not praying, and they are not studying, they are not, and they just sit down, and they're just like this. And you enter their room, and you call them. There's something to be worried about. And then by the time they're talking, their conversations in their words, you start hearing words of hopelessness. You start saying, okay, there must be something here. What is the challenge? And then start trying to, because if we don't reach out to people, the reasons why a lot of people get to the point of suicide is because people don't reach out to them. People are not there to help them. They feel nobody cares anyway.
But do you not think, Justin, do you not think that the temperament plays a role in this? I mean, or probably, I've heard that people are paranoid, and instead of sharing that problem, they don't want to be seen as I've got the struggle. They just want to deal with it themselves. And there's also a part of temperament where people just feel they don't even want to agree. Maybe like they're in denial. They don't want to agree that they are depressed, and by virtue of their temperament, they can't express what or how they feel. How do you help people like that?
Now the truth is that the fact that you deny that you're sick doesn't mean
you're not sick. Yes.
So that's number one thing. And I've had a whole lot of people who talk about their temperaments, you know, in one way or the other, influencing what they are doing. It's so important for us to know one thing. You know, the way the life and how we live now are shaped by two things: nature and nurture. Now that means you can be formed by nature in one way or the other, but how you nurture yourself is very, very paramount to your success in life. Don't just say, because there is a way you can transform your temperament to really suit whatever lifestyle you want to live. You want to live everybody desires a good life. You want to live fine, you want to live good, you want to live free from whatever sicknesses that could come as a result of depression. So you really need to take charge of that particular life of yours that you've gotten. So it doesn't really, it's irrespective of your temperament. The fact that you're a lone ranger doesn't mean you should stay alone and then be intense in sadness.
Let's talk about helping now. AAA, you know, we've identified that some people ordinarily they're not loners. They are very, very, you know, very, very lively and active. All of a sudden, they just retreat to their own cocoon, to their own shell, and they tend to not enjoy life anymore. You have noticed, maybe as a friend, as a neighbor, as a brother, this particular incident's changing. How do you help this person? Because ordinarily, most Nigerians are not really in the habit of going to see a shrink or a psychologist. And most times when you try to talk to some people, they say you're trying to psychoanalyze them. So how exactly do you help them as a friend?
As a friend, if you're to help someone like that, first of all, is connection. That's what I was going to add, and I like the question you asked, because I was going to add that to what he was saying. In the sense that people like to live in denial. In the world, in the country we live in, like, what thing they do you? We say, you know, we don't acknowledge, first of all. I think that's another issue. Even those around them don't help them acknowledge that, okay, there might be an issue or you might need some form of help to be able to sort this issue out. So the first thing you need to, first of all, do is be around them. Let them know that, listen, I'm here. What's up? Check up on them. We don't check up on people anymore. Even if you are living...
They don't, I mean, sometimes they say they want to be alone, even if they know they don't want to be alone.
Even if and you realize they don't want to be alone. There are some things that if you think that this person's life might be in danger, then at that point, as a coach, every session I hold with a client, we sign a contract, and in that contract is written in that contract that, listen, everything we discuss here is strictly confidential, unless whatever you discuss with me, I feel will be harmful to your life. Maybe you're discussing about killing yourself or killing somebody else. That's the only time I'm obliged to say what we have said here to somebody else. Okay. Do you understand? So a lot of times, people don't want to, they're telling them they don't want it, but sometimes you just need to force them. So if you see that maybe this person is getting into, this depression thing is getting out of hand, and maybe this person might be a threat to their own lives, then it's not a question of, they're not in the right frame of mind to make their own decisions at that point anymore. You need to step in. And then step in and say, no, you're not going to be alone. You can't be alone. If you like, hit your head against the wall. You're not going to be alone. Once you do that for them, at the end, because in a depressed state, you are in what we call an unresourceful state. You can't make the right decisions. You can't come up with the right options right now because you don't see any other option except the negative one. Because that's why it's called the state of hopelessness. Because you're not seeing any other positive options. You're only seeing a negative option. And a person in an unresourceful state cannot have the resourceful mind to say, okay, I can come up with a solution here. So at that point, they need other people's minds to support them. So in that state, you literally, if it's going extreme, use force.
Okay, so I'd like us to look at it from the gender angle now. Saying that a lot of these things, the way it plays out in a woman is different from the way it plays out in a man. Okay, so I don't know if it has to do with the gender thing. Knowing that women are moved by what they hear. So in helping people, if it's a woman, okay, women can actually be complex. Pregnant woman,
hormonal changes and all of that.
So let's start with the women now.
Yes.
How do you begin to help in a case like that? A woman who's depressed. I'm sure the way to take a toll on a woman will be different from the way to take a toll on a man.
Yeah, definitely.
So for the woman, how do we begin to help?
The fact remains that there are experts who really do this. And one of the culture we lack in this part of the world is the fact that we do self-medication a lot. Because support is key in any society.
I think people are scared of stigmatization.
That's one word I really wanted to talk about maybe later on, because there is a whole lot. Imagine somebody told you, confided in you that is depressed, and the next thing, look at that, he's depressed. Do you understand? And people are afraid. And you have a whole lot of sicknesses and diseases now that people are really stigmatized, and a host of people who are going through such things, they will not want to come out. And that's why we are sensitizing people.
Yes, it's lack of awareness.
We're trying as much as possible to make people understand that once you have issues, once you are going through this stuff, the basic way of really curing them is you coming out and then reaching out to people who can help. There are mental health experts who can really take you through. There are life coaches, people who are psychologists. They can take you through processes of you getting over depression.
But how often do you get to meet those professionals, maybe the life coaches and the psychiatrists and psychologists? I don't know, because over time you don't really exactly have to wait till it has gotten to a particular stage. Is it a thing of going to see a regular checkup, or what do you do exactly?
So take for instance, I have given her an open book to come and see me. She has refused to come and see me. She refused to even give me a call. Why? Because and it's not about mental health. No, it's about career. Now, as a life coach, what I do is help you with your life in general. So your career, your business, your personal life. I help you set your goals and hit those goals. Now, if a particular client I'm working with, and I'm glad you mentioned women, because women are more open about their emotions than men. I hardly get men signed up to say, okay, I want to come and see a coach. If they come and see a coach, even for business, it's not as much as the women come to sign up for business coaching. So the challenge is realizing that, first of all, the culture of seeing professionals, we need to build it. And that culture, I must confess, and as a member of the Life Coaches Association of Nigeria, I will say that we are working hard at that culture now to make it open, that to make it easy that, okay, you should be able to walk up to a life coach and have a conversation with a life coach and say, okay, it should be that easy like you're talking to a doctor. So you walk into the doctor's office, and all of you come to the hospital, and you walk into the doctor's office and you have a conversation with the doctor, whatever disease that you want to discuss with the doctor, nobody knows. You only come out and then take your drugs and you go. And nobody's looking at you like, nobody's looking at you strange. That's the same way we're supposed to start treating therapists, psychologists, coaches as well, or psychiatrists as well. So because you need to start seeing them as professionals who can help you at the mental state of mind and the emotional state of mind, psychology and emotions. Once you see that these are the guys that will help me, because 80% of every human success is psychological. And we don't realize it. We're not living in that consciousness that 80% of your success is psychologically driven. The technical knowledge you need is only 20%. Meaning that as you are here, you're a fantastic presenter, you're a fantastic broadcaster. But if you are depressed, you can't perform. You cannot perform at your optimum. There's nothing you can do about it. So now that means that with all your knowledge and all your expertise and all your experience, it's useless when you're in a depressed state of mind. So why not face that depressed state of mind and give it attention and deal with that and be in a state of resourcefulness where you can be on stage and deliver. The challenges a lot of times is that with workplaces, we work with workplaces as well, and then we do what you call emotional makeover for the whole organization, because a lot of people are working in the offices and they are zombies. There are zombies in a lot of workplaces today. Right? Because we are just working there and they're just literally following. You say you arrive at 8 o'clock, you do this, you send this mail, you do this, you do that, and by 5 you close and go home. And people will smile with each other, and we smile and we laugh. Hey, Richard, what's up? Just in half an hour, we'll see you tomorrow. And you think they are well. They're not. A lot of people are dealing with emotional stuff. I'm not even talking about psychological. Emotional issues that they are carrying within them, that they are dealing with. They're using clothes to cover. Issues at home, issues at personal life. And organizations are not paying attention to them because they feel, okay, just deliver what we're delivering. And we are realizing that even if they're delivering just at average level. They have capacity to deliver at even a higher level if you can help them sort their emotional life.
Okay, so saying that what you've said so far, I mean, a whole lot of people think one of the best ways, because I want us to talk about curbing too. Some people think one of the best ways to curb is by drinking it away. And some think probably smoking it away. To some, or sleeping it away.
Or laughing it away as well.
Exactly.
I remember I had...
That makes good.
Those things can definitely lead to addiction. If you want to smoke or drink your depression away, it could lead to another.
And it will never take it away.
Another problem entirely.
It's just like curing the headache with what is meant for malaria. That's why seeing specialists is very important. It's in this part of the world that we don't do things the way it should be done, and we're expecting the results
to be different.
To be right. So when you see specialists, and that's the sensitization we are bringing, and that's one of the things LAND is all about, creating support for people who are depressed, and really making sure that the right people attend to them at the right time, in order to really diagnose what they are going through, and then making proper therapy for them. Because the truth is, some of these things can lead to other mental health diseases. There is a mental health disease called OCD. Obsessive compulsive disorder. Somebody who is having such thing, and you think you don't have issues, or somebody like that, and you leave that person that same way, you're really not doing that person good. So we've got to have it at the back of our mind that we hold a lot to one another at workplace. We don't just come over and just say, high five, and there's just going to be that point in time that we go to each other, and then the emotional status of that person. You know what that person is going through.
And how do you do that and not make the person feel? I mean, probably coming into your space. I don't want them meddling. Exactly.
The truth is, what the way you handle those things, they determine the results you get. And if you feel you have someone who need a serious attention, and you make referral, refer that person to someone that can handle it better than
his consent.
That's the essence of friendship.
Okay.
Yeah,
just make referrals, stuff like that.
I know
we've
had a whole lot of referring what we are doing from people.
Okay.
That I need you to see so person, and then being a specialist, then you take it up from there. Okay. The truth is, some people are sick, and they know the fact that they are sick. But they might not want to come out to you.
Want to take the step.
But when you refer them,
and they might not even know where to go.
They might not even know where to go. But when they refer them to where the solution is, everybody loves solution. If we know the solution to recession, we'll embrace it.
Okay, but at what point in time in all of this that one might just need to do a complete getaway from it, or maybe it's just maybe you've been too sunk down in a particular place or a particular thing, and it just is there a time when you just need the time to get away from everything?
Yeah, that can be useful. When you get away from all the challenges and just try to clear your head. That's why, first of all, in this country we don't even have a culture of vacation. A vacation culture.
I did.
Where people wait, you went on a vacation, or you took leave?
I traveled.
Oh, you traveled. Okay, good. Okay, that's a vacation. That's good. Now, we don't normally have that culture around here, and so a lot of people they work from 9 to 5. They are trying to make the money, trying to make that paper. But in the long run, they make the paper and they don't have the physical, psychological, and emotional well-being to enjoy the paper they worked for. So they start using that paper to start fixing those issues, and that's not the way to live life. So sometimes getting away is a good thing, but most importantly, now you said something about if somebody needs help and you're trying to reach out to them. I think the first thing is care. Motives matter. Motives do matter.
Yeah.
Now, if you really care about the person, and the person sees that this person cares about me, even if they are trying to be in denial, they will still, in their closet, in their close place, still think about it and say, okay, this person trying to help me, Because once they have that mindset, this person is trying to help them, they will likely be more open to help, as opposed to they're not sure what your motives are, and they're not sure maybe tomorrow you'll not go and tell their story somewhere and they're gisting about it. And so there's a particular lady who I was talking to who had gotten my number somehow, and then I think it was through land as well. Yeah. And they got my number and we're talking, and she was dealing with depression. She was dealing with serious depression. She had attempted suicide. It didn't work, but she attempted it. And then while we were talking, but the worry she kept having, the fear, was that people will hear, people will talk, people will say, how am I so sure that I can trust you? I can be safe in your hands. How am I so sure? And it took a while to build the trust. And that's where the professionals come in. We are trained to help you build that trust, that we can help.
Let me comment there. He did say something about checkup, the way we go for medical checkup. You don't have to be sick before you go for checkup. Should we do that when it comes to life coaching?
You know what? I think get a coach. Everybody needs a life coach.
Okay.
Get a life coach. It's not the way you want to succeed. Get a life coach.
Just you want to marry, get a life coach.
Get a life coach. There are relationship coaches I can recommend to you.
I'm sure you can.
I think one was here. Mrs. What's her name?
Mrs. Patience.
No, not Mrs. Patience. There was another lady I was a guest here with. She's a relationship coach. Bridget. No, she was a resource person for you here. I've forgotten her name. But I mean, I can recommend.
I'm sure you can, but we are looking at some depression. I am not depressed. Lee.
It wasn't me. It was
her. Man, guys, I have to say a very big thank you to both of you because we are completely out of time.
Yes.
We've been speaking with some Adekunle Adefemiya, AAA, a life coach, and of course, Kunle Belemo, the convener of LAND, and them together and talking about how to curb depression. Move away from us. We don't need it at all.
We don't. I mean, not at the stage of our lives. We don't. Like you rightly said, from Ekiti, we have them Grace Jerry, convener Access Nigeria Project, and Abimbola Aladejare, convener Vote Not Fight campaign, who took us through the Ekiti election. We'll do this tomorrow when we'll talk entertainment. So remember to keep it a date with us. I'm Uche Onyekloji. Have a wonderful Thursday.
And I'm Justin Akadonye. See you again tomorrow. Bye for now.